Once upon a time, the Indianapolis Colts were one of the best NFL teams of the 2000s. They won 9 playoff games, made 3 conference titles, made 2 Super Bowls, and won it all in 2006. Their quarterback, Peyton Manning, won 4 MVPs in this entire decade, and his Colts won more regular season games than anyone else. Around the end of this wonderful decade of football, Manning's eventual replacement was beginning to form his identity, or so he thought. He wouldn't know it yet. But Stanford quarterback Andrew Luck would transform into one of the most treasured personalities the NFL has ever seen. When Luck was shattering school records and returning Stanford to national prominence after a decade of futility, he quickly garnered the attention of NFL scouts and analysts. He was getting comparisons to multi-level legends like John Elway and, well, Peyton Manning as the greatest quarterback prospect in the sport's history. Even as Baylor's Robert Griffin III was about to enter his Heisman-winning 2011 campaign, teams tried their best to not try their best in a quest that would come to be known as Suck for Luck. What a happy coincidence, because the 2011 Colts finished with that season's worst record at 2-14. Manning missed the entire season with a neck injury that prevented him from working out, and doctors weren't sure if he'd have the chance to play again. As a result, the Colts released him in the offseason, and though he was emotional about leaving Indy, Manning hid all the physical and mental pain he went through, and was able to recover with an incredible 4-year career with the Broncos that ended up with his second Super Bowl win. As for the Colts, they took Luck first overall in the 2012 NFL Draft, officially kicking off their rebuild on the road back to respect. This was at the beginning of Luck's time in the NFL, and many predicted he'd have a long shelf life in the NFL as a once-in-a-lifetime unicorn at quarterback. But no one could have predicted what would happen next. In a season where Luck completely lived up to the generational hype, the Colts stunned the NFL and clinched a playoff spot with an 11-5 record. This team had a point differential of -30 and a knack for winning close games, and by winning close games, I mean almost every close game they were in. Luck broke many rookie quarterback records, including passing yards from a rookie with over 4,300, and, as we've been discussing, game-winning drives with 7. The Colts were a betting underdog in 10 of those games, winning 6 of them. 2 of those upset wins in particular stand out. In Week 5 against the Packers team coming off a 15-1 season, the Colts trailed at half 21-3. But in the second half, Luck combined for 3 total touchdowns, including the game winner with 28 seconds left as the Colts outscored the Packers 27-6. The second comes against the Matthew Stafford-led Detroit Lions. The 7-point road underdog Colts trailed by 12 points in the fourth quarter, eventually getting the ball back down 33-28, 1:07 left, no timeouts remaining from their own 25. This drive gave us the complete Andrew Luck package. A tough quarterback willing to take hits to lead his team to victory. This 3rd-and-1 tight window laser rocket for 26 yards, terrific scrambling ability for an additional 16, a first down pass under pressure when he just barely escaped the sack that may have ended the game, and with 4 seconds left, on 4th down from the Detroit 14, a short game winner to Donnie Avery, who crosses the finish line just as time expires, 35-33. Luck threw for 23 touchdowns but had 18 interceptions under the scheme of play caller Bruce Arians, who not only becomes the interim coach when the actual head coach, Chuck Pagano, undergoes leukemia treatment for 12 games, but also becomes the first interim coach to win Coach of the Year. Arians employed a challenging vertical passing scheme that guaranteed hits and turnovers, but once mastered, offered a rewarding attack. I consider Luck's rookie season the most impressive I've ever seen. No matter how many mistakes he made, he looked like a veteran quarterback right after, keeping a Colts team punching far above its weight with many knockouts and close wins. At skill player, Luck got a solid rookie season from running back Vic Ballard, the last great season from the terrific Reggie Wayne, a great rookie season from the excellent T.Y. Hilton, spread targets between rookie tight ends Coby Fleener and Dwayne Allen, and a career year from free agent Donnie Avery with 781 yards. For his efforts helping assemble this team, GM Ryan Grigson was awarded Executive of the Year. The magic ended right away in the wildcard round, where the eventual Super Bowl champion Ravens blew out the Colts in the battle of teams that play or once played football in Baltimore. But Indianapolis made fantastic progress in a season where no one expected them to make it this far. Things had to get better, would get better, in the years beyond. Bruce Arians left the Colts for a successful career as a head coach with the Cardinals and Bucs that ended with a Super Bowl win, and his play calling role was replaced by Pep Hamilton, Luck's play caller and quarterbacks coach at Stanford. With Hamilton, Luck cut his interceptions down from 18 to 9, showing he had little trouble reading defenses. Luck loves reading. Books, he loves them like a son to the point where he'll open his own book club in Indianapolis. See, many quarterbacks at this time are trained to have a constrained personality, at least from the public view. They spout cliches such as being all about faith, family, football, doing nothing but watching football, smoking football, devoting your entire life to playing football. Absolutely nothing wrong with those things, but what makes Luck refreshing is that he's so much more than those things. He'll command respect in the locker room and also express his love for Game of Thrones. The books the TV show is based on, he refuses to watch the show because he doesn't want the books to be spoiled. Now some of you might be thinking, but wait Andrew, don't you have time to motivate your players? Nah, motivating others and giving speeches is overrated, he says. We're all self-motivated. A player with this unique a personality can only be the mindset of a player with a skill set as unique as Luck's. And like the 2012 team, the 2013 Colts finished 11-5, enough to win the AFC South this time around. And they look like they're getting better. In Week 5 against the Seahawks team with one of the greatest defenses of all time, Luck led a comeback victory 34-28, throwing a pair of touchdowns without turning the ball over. Truly one of the more standout wins of his career considering the opponent. Against a Broncos team that featured the highest scoring offense ever, Luck squared off against 2013 MVP Peyton Manning in the latter's return to Indy, in which Manning received a standing ovation and pregame tribute. But it was also time for Luck to let the world know he was above the pressure of filling in Manning's shoes, and outplayed the Sheriff in a 39-33 win that was a bit less close than the final score indicated. The team even survived Reggie Wayne missing 9 games and a trade for running back Trent Richardson, regarded by many as one of the worst trades in recent memory, as Luck continued to form an elite connection with T.Y. Hilton, who will soon make many Pro Bowls and put together a great career of his own with the Colts. As a wildcard round host to a resurgent Chiefs team, the Colts were 2.5 home underdogs, and we'll see why right away. They were getting their asses kicked by Alex Smith and his 4 touchdown passes while Luck couldn't stop throwing interceptions. At halftime, Chuck Pagano ripped into his team with an impassioned speech he seemed pretty proud of. It didn't work. The Colts went down as many as 38-10 with under 14 minutes left in the third quarter. It looked like hope for a comeback was gone. But then Andrew Luck found himself. Not even another interception could stop the Colts' scoring run, with 21 third-quarter points being amassed thanks in part to a Robert Mathis strip sack. Down 41-31 with under 11 minutes to play, running back Donald Brown fumbled a goal line carry that would be a dagger to the Colts if recovered by the Chiefs. That's when Luck engineered perhaps the signature play of his career, recovered the fumble, and rumbled his way into the end zone with a stretch past the plane. The Chiefs' offense had no answers, and they could only muster a field goal to go up 44-38 with under 6 minutes to play. A few plays later, Luck threw an otherworldly cannon to Hilton over 2 Chiefs defenders that Hilton caught on his way for the go-ahead touchdown. The Colts survived a few minutes later when Alex Smith's 4th down pass to Dwayne Bowe looked on target, but Bowe was only able to keep 1 foot in bounds. It has remained the second biggest comeback in any playoff game. 5 total touchdowns from Luck, who arrived as advertised and completely made up for his turnovers. The Colts were a game further than where they finished in 2012, and because of a blowout loss to the Patriots the following week, it'll stay that way. But progress is progress. Luck's Colts won 4 games against playoff teams, including the 2 Super Bowl contestants and 1 additional conference title finalist. Now let's see if the Colts can at least make the AFC Championship in 2014. It's not looking likely after 2 games, both losses. This team was looking to get a better finish than 11-5, but in retrospect, finishing with that record doesn't seem so bad now. And that's where they finished for a 3rd straight season. The Colts recovered to win 11 of their last 14 for another division title, and Luck became the 8th quarterback to throw 40 touchdowns in a single season. His 4,761 passing yards also remain a franchise record. Luck was as hungry for his Super Bowl as he was for Northern Indian food, but not Southern Indian. I'm told there is a difference between the two. Luck's development into a top quarterback was made all the more impressive considering he remained a gunslinger at heart, for better and worse, and was hit more than any QB in each of his first 3 seasons behind an atrocious offensive line. But Luck would compliment defenders that hit him during plays, something they expressed both appreciation and confusion at. "You're supposed to be my opponent. Why are you being nice?" But that's Andrew Luck. He's just different. And the Colts have their sights set on a different finish to the season. They start with a pretty easy win over the Bengals in the wildcard round, where Luck throws for 376 yards and this gorgeous touchdown as he's getting brought to the ground. The heavily favored Broncos are next, but despite 2 arm punt interceptions from Luck, the Colts take advantage of their once franchise quarterback in Peyton Manning being unable to stop overthrowing his receivers. Luck's 2 touchdowns proved to be the difference maker, sending the Colts back to the AFC Championship. In their last playoff loss to the Patriots, Indy lost by 23 points. Luckily, they'd only lose by 38 this time. They just couldn't stop the Patriots defense, who picked off Luck twice and barely allowed him to eclipse 100 yards passing. It's probably the worst game of his career. Despite the poor pass protection and declining defense, the Colts under Andrew Luck had gotten further in the playoffs in all 3 seasons. For this reason alone, you're going to love 2015. GM Ryan Grigson earned credit much deserved for his 2012 roster moves panning out in 2012. But he was under fire for skewing protecting Luck with an offensive line, even doubling down in the 2015 draft by taking receiver Philip Dorsett in the first round and waiting until the 7th round to take any pass protection, passing over options like guards Mitch Morse and Ali Marpet, tackles Rob Havenstein and Trent Brown, center Shaq Mason, and undrafted free agent Lael Collins. I apologize if I butchered any of these names. These would all become good players to some degree, guys that would have saved Luck from taking a beating. Finally, the beatings took their toll. Luck suffered a separated shoulder in a win against the Titans in Week 3, requiring him to miss the following 2 games. He led a near comeback victory 2 weeks later against the undefeated Panthers that fell just short in overtime. I'll tell you this right now. The Colts will not reach the playoffs this year at 8-8, and the Super Bowl will belong to Peyton Manning and the Broncos in Manning's final season in the NFL. But the 2 faced off one last time in Week 9. Luck suffered additional rib fractures and a lacerated kidney in this game, but managed to put up by far his best game of the season, throwing for 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, and a 98.4 passer rating, helping the Colts race past the finish line 27-24. Quarterback wins, as they say, aren't a stat. But Andrew Luck's Colts were 3-1 against Peyton Manning's Broncos lifetime. An awesome feat, considering that's maybe against one of the 3 greatest quarterbacks of all time. But as you may have guessed, the rib and the kidney injuries on top of the torn shoulder meant Luck's season was over. He struggled throughout, but at least finished on top with an extremely impressive win and performance over the eventual Super Bowl champs and an all-time great defense. Something like this has ended up as one of Luck's more underrated accomplishments during his time in the NFL. With the road to recovery being set, the Colts landed a massive contract extension with Luck, who uses a $10 flip phone. I'm sure with the amount of money he has now, he'll be able to upgrade, which he does, to a flip phone with a camera. He doesn't want to be glued to the internet 24/7, amen. So he buys, as one writer describes it, the most famous cell phone in America. It goes without saying Luck is as unconventional as star quarterbacks come. How did he meet his wife Nicole? By tricking her into calling his phone after telling her he lost it. He's a huge fan of soccer and expresses some disappointment when his job as an NFL quarterback prevents him from devoting more time into watching the sport or playing FIFA on the Xbox. Luck isn't focused much on comparisons with other quarterbacks, past or present. As he himself says, it's cool, it creates good dialogue, it's just not for me. Luck isn't really interested in the celebrity life either. One day, he visits the famed Barclays Center in Brooklyn because JC helped design it, right? Actually, he visits it for the architecture. Alright, calm down, Ted Mosby. Luck is an architecture nut, and according to one teammate, he has a book on the history of concrete. Concrete. When teammates come over to hang out, they'll party, right? Sort of. They'll play board games. In fact, Luck's perfect night involves playing his favorite board game, Settlers of Catan. Honestly, it's pretty refreshing that compared to most quarterbacks you've seen, Andrew Luck is so radically different hobby and personality-wise, which makes it equally refreshing that in 2016, he's able to balance his personal life with another high-quality season in his football life. Luck surpassed 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns again despite missing a game, but the Colts missed the playoffs for the second straight season with another 8-8 finish. That was the end for Ryan Grigson, fired after the season. Colts fans hate him as much as Lions fans hate Matt Millen. And according to players like punter Pat McAfee, he was a pretty big jerk behind closed doors as well. When asked why he couldn't give his quarterback a better defense, Grigson had said, "Well, Luck's contract makes it very hard for me to spend money. Yeah, man, we're looking for the guy who did this. Can you tell me where he's at?" Grigson had the opposite persona of Coach Pagano. He's considered one of the good guys of the sport, but because the team wasn't playing for a championship, Pagano too was on thin ice as the 2017 season approached. For Luck, he was still playing in his prime, evident by a close loss in a shootout with the Matthew Stafford Lions in Week 1, where he threw for 385 yards and 4 touchdowns, and in Week 13 against the Jets, where he had debatably his best game, throwing for 278 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a career-high 147.6 passer rating in the curb-stomping victory. 2017 was a different story. Was Luck playing poorly? No, he wasn't. He didn't play a single game. In the 2016 offseason, he suffered a sprained AC joint to his throwing shoulder he sustained on a snowboarding trip. He was playing the entirety of 2016 with this injury, and had surgery following the season to repair it. The problem? It wasn't healing quickly enough. Luck was missing training camp, the preseason. Every week speculation hit, but Luck had yet to come back. Finally, on November 2nd, he was placed on injured reserve, ending his season before it even began. The pain was so great that during one preseason game, Luck was relieved he didn't have to throw during warm-ups. Even after getting self-soothing techniques on his throwing shoulder, he still could not throw passes at any point in the regular season without any sort of pain. No matter what he did, the physical pressure presented by his recovery and the mental pressure that forced him to hide a facade and pretend he was this heroic quarterback everyone wanted him to be, gnawed away at his flesh like a parasite, and he was further damaged when he isolated himself from those close to him. It was sabotaging his relationship with Nicole, then his girlfriend. She wanted the help, having had a lengthy injury history as a gymnast herself, but Luck's confused range of emotions just wouldn't let her in. At one point, Nicole was prepared to go her separate ways and leave Luck, until one day, he finally poured his heart out and showed a side she had not seen from him. It brought him back together. Luck's rehab following 2017 remained difficult. But with the help of QB specialist Tom House, who had worked with legendary quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Drew Brees, he retooled his mechanics. His first pass during this process was completely painless. For the first time in 2 years, he felt something by feeling nothing. He was speechless. He was back. The 2017 Colts finished 4-12 without Luck. Pagano was fired and replaced by Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. This didn't even last a day as McDaniels went back to the Patriots in a move that was widely criticized and resulted in McDaniels being dropped by his agent. Pagano's actual replacement was former backup quarterback Frank Reich, the offensive coordinator of the Super Bowl Eagles team in 2017. Reich and new GM Chris Ballard, second year anyway, did what Ryan Grigson largely did not, making 2 key draft picks on linemen and guards Quentin Nelson and Braden Smith. Luck's health was important in making sure the 2018 Colts rose back to the playoff contender they were in his first 3 seasons. They started 1-5, but eventually met this goal. In a furious rise, Luck barely missed 40 touchdown passes and won Comeback Player of the Year, leading the Colts to a 10-6 record and a trip back to the playoffs. The Colts punched their tickets on the final day of the regular season in a win-or-go-home win over the Titans, a team Luck has played 11 games against and has never lost to. T.Y. Hilton, as usual, was fantastic, and the surprise breakout of free agent tight end Eric Ebron meant 750 yards, 13 touchdowns, and a Pro Bowl season. But the big difference was in that offensive line, finally. Luck was sacked just 18 times, with the league's lowest sack rate at 2.7%. The Colts trotted ahead in a pretty ordinary road win against the rival Texans in the wild card, before laying a fat egg in the divisional round against the Chiefs, whose quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, will win 2018's MVP award along with many more deserved accolades. Mahomes is the perfect rival to someone of Luck's caliber, someone he can meet in the playoffs on their way to Super Bowl runs. But never mind that. The Colts have to make the necessary improvements in 2019 to get back there again. It was finally here. An actual offensive line with a coaching staff that knew how to maximize Luck's generational skill set. And in the 2019 season, the Colts never saw him again. On August 24th, 2019, 2 weeks before the season was set to start, and weeks before his 30th birthday, Andrew Luck shocked the sports world and retired from the NFL. A calf injury had kept him out since May, and he still wasn't practicing. He couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't go through rehab again, not after all he went through. The organization was stunned. They tried to reconvince him, but to no avail. Fans were especially stunned. This was leaked during a Colts preseason game with Luck on the sidelines. Having planned to announce his retirement the day after, he could only listen as the crowd he delivered numerous wins and memorable games to booed him on the spot. Now, this isn't exclusive to Colts fans necessarily, and obviously not all Colts fans acted this way. Put many fan bases in this situation, and they're likely to come to the same conclusion without really knowing the reason for the retirement. It's still pretty sad, either way, to see this treatment from a city Luck had grown to love. After seeing the years of abuse he took in the pocket, the lengthy stints of rehab he went through, his teammates understood why he was doing this. But Luck was still overwhelmed with guilt. He really wanted to get these guys a Super Bowl, but his body just wouldn't let him. In a way, Luck's travels in 2017 marked the end of his NFL career. He had spent time in the Netherlands with trainer Willem Kramer, whose wife was the volleyball coach at the same school where Luck's dad Oliver was the athletic director. Kramer and Luck spent 6 weeks in the Netherlands not to get Luck to throw, but to get him to find himself. Kramer couple counseled with Andrew and Nicole and had gotten through to Luck by asking him one simple question: are you more than a quarterback? It was something Luck had struggled with throughout the 2010s. He had an endless love for being a football quarterback, but the pressure of every waking moment of his life being devoted to football and having those he was close with adjust their schedules to his, it took away from a desire to just be an average dude, a lame suburban dad, if you will. Andrew and Nicole married back in March, and Nicole became pregnant in June. Luck wanted to be there to raise their child together, so he chose his family over his career. In other words, choosing his health over a Hall of Fame career. When Luck made the official announcement during the ensuing press conference, he was a man with roller coaster emotions. He laid it all out, thanking practically everyone he played with and everyone that coached him. He even thanked the cafeteria staff, security, the scouting department, his bone doctor, and even after getting booed, he still thanked the city of Indianapolis and the fans. It was again, as he said, the hardest decision he ever had to make. But for him, it was the right one, and it was one that freed him. Andrew Luck won a battle greater to him than winning any Super Bowl, the battle against himself. So what of Luck's NFL career? When you compare his career accomplishments to those of Peyton Manning as a Colt, yeah, it doesn't even come close. When you consider what his teams accomplished, they don't come close either. His teams were fortunate enough not to suffer the heartbreaking playoff loss, but that's also because they got blown out in all 4 of their playoff losses. Luck had a negative touchdown-interception ratio in the playoffs, and he only had 1 playoff game of 8 where he didn't commit a single turnover. His career only lasted 7 years, and many perceived this as a complete failure, a waste of what was arguably the greatest quarterback prospect the NFL had ever seen. But what exactly is failure then? When you get taken first overall, you're not going to a dynasty in the making. You're going to a team that is very, very bad. And the 2011 Colts, while not completely devoid of talent, were very, very bad. When Patrick Mahomes went to the Chiefs, he was on a playoff team. When Dan Marino went to the Dolphins, he was on a Super Bowl team. It's easier for those guys to develop because they went to a team that had more pieces to offer, but the Colts had to start from scratch and build in the draft, and that's what made Luck's poise, veteran mindset as a rookie, so special. Did Luck have less to work with than other great quarterbacks? Absolutely, but from 2012 to 2014, the Colts made consistent progress as a football franchise, making it to the AFC Championship before injuries to Luck stonewalled any additional progress. When you look at scenarios from other number 1 picks, Luck playing at the level he did should be commended, and his 39 touchdown passes in 2018 are the most from any quarterback in their final season. No one else even has 28. And yeah, Luck has that record because he walked away in his prime when most other quarterbacks kept going before they resembled a towed car. Doesn't matter to me, especially with the extensive rehab Luck was going through. But for Luck, to debate whether he was good enough to lead a team to the Super Bowl or if he could ever win the biggest game, that's meaningless and misses the entire point. Far be it to suggest Colts fans shouldn't feel this way because they absolutely should, but hear me out. Retirement allowed Luck to just step away and embark on countless adventures. He upgraded to an actual smartphone, and though he still doesn't bother with social media, he's at least aware of this next part. He inspired a popular Twitter account named Captain Andrew Luck, where he was depicted as a Civil War officer, because he looks like one, writing letters to his mother about various updates to his Colts career. In a Week 3 game between the Giants and 49ers in 2023, Luck showed up to the Amazon postgame set in uniform to reference, quote, and complete the meme full circle. But hang on, what was Luck doing in Santa Clara, California? Well, he and his family moved to Palo Alto, 13 miles away from Santa Clara, and in the backyard of his old stomping grounds at Stanford, where he returned to complete his master's degree in education. He's returned to football to some degree as a part-time coach at a nearby high school. Here in the Bay Area, he's finally found the simple life he's been craving for. In April 2024, Luck made his return to Indianapolis, taking part in a cancer research fund hosted by none other than Chuck Pagano. Pagano himself retired from coaching after 2021, expressing a desire to spend time with his own family. Maybe Luck's retirement had influenced him, maybe it didn't. Anyway, the two are teaming up for a special throwing challenge, a challenge they succeed at, might I add. Luck's arm still has it. Here he's also asked, what do you miss most about the state of Indiana? And Luck's answer is the most Indiana thing you could possibly think of, the Indy 500. If Luck could change anything about his retirement, he would have done it right after the 2018 season ended. That's a good scoop to get for an interview, right? Except Luck first revealed this to a group of kids he was playing football with just when you heard everything about this guy. But while it's true that he lost that competitive fire and probably won't make the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I think Luck is fine with that because he's having the time of his life spending time with his wife and his kids as well. They'll ask him to tell them all the crazy stories in his life, who he was before his job became dad. And he might say he's many things: a former quarterback, a part-time football coach, a bookworm, an architectural nut, a cyclist, and above all, himself.